Hello, friends. This is Dave Young, David Henry Young. I like my name. I'm named after my grandfather, David Henry Reed, on my mother's side. Uh, he was, I never met him. He died before I was born, and he was a large grocer in the old Haymarket Square of Boston. He had a huge market. He used to send milk all the way to Maine, and bread. And I mean, he was there during the crash, the 29 to 33 crash in America. He had a good business. He fed a lot of people. And once I was over at one of my aunt's house. My mother's comes from five girls. My grandfather, who I'm named after, he had five girls, and the youngest was this gal, my Aunt Penny, and I was over there visiting the day before Thanksgiving. One time I was 12 years old, and I was helping her for the putting together all the preparations for a 20-pound turkey day the next day on Thanksgiving. We probably had 40 people coming in from all parts of the family. It was great. Anyway, I asked Aunt Penny, what was your dad like? Grandpa Reed. I mean, I'm named after him, and I'm wondering, what was he like? And she turned. She had a smock on, and she had knife and utensils cutting. She turned, and you could see she's taking a break, and she kind of looked at me like this and put a knife down and looked me right in the eye, and she said, "Well, you look like him, you talk like him, you walk like him, and when you get real happy, you laugh like him. I see my dad in you all the time." I mean, the influence, her whole spirit was, she was happy remembering, and it's a neat little thing. You never get to meet the guy you're named after. In this case, my grandfather, and only one of my father's father, I met him a couple of times. But in this case, I just remember it. I wanted to share it. God gives these moments in each of our lives that's really personal, and it can be very public on top of it, or not. And it's and as I grew up, in the first jobs I had up until maybe 25, 26 years old, I worked in grocery stores. I knew all about being a grocer. I mean, I worked everywhere except cutting meat, and it's go figure. I mean, and I really loved it. So it's like my grandfather's blood and all that kind of thing. The life of the flesh is in the blood, I'm like my grandpa. And it's just cool. I just wanted to share that. So fast forward from 12 to 26 years, 14 years later, I'm saved now. I'm born again. I grew up a Catholic. I got radically transformed in a lot of ways when I was in a very small Pentecostal church after the war. I'm a Vietnam vet, and had some pretty dark times from 1970 when I got out to when I got saved in a very small Pentecostal church after a couple of Bible studies in north of Boston. I'm from Quincy, which is 12 miles, 15 miles south from where this church was, and it was just radically different from. But the Holy Spirit was moving, and this is all new, and just a vibrant, young, small Pentecostal church where God was moving, healing, delivering people, being encouraged in the Spirit through prophetic utterances, like water, just flowing. It was great. And then around that time, maybe in 1975, I was visiting a friend, and I was tired, and I just took a small nap. I didn't ask to take a nap. I'm just sitting on the couch, and I was alone, and just next thing I know, I see the greenest grass I've ever seen in my life. And I love grass, and I know a lot about grass. And this stuff was like, I've never seen a green like that. It was like shimmering and yet almost normal to every senses that I had, but it was alive. And I started walking toward, it was a hillside that was right in front of me, and I started to walk toward it. And I was aware there was an angel next to me. I didn't see him, but I knew he was there. And I started walking, negotiating the hill, walking up the hill, and I was aware that the grass blades were aware that my foot was crushing them, and they were lovingly receiving my weight. All in a moment, I had that sense. And, and the sense of wonder was enormous, and I'm just calmly walking up this hillside, maybe 100-foot hill, on an easy slope to walk. And as I started to walk up, these two bluebirds just cut across my vision, just maybe 2 feet from my nose, and they were just hilariously flying by, and it was the bluest blue I've ever seen. It was just, and I'm walking up the hill, and then I see some more hills, and I'm walking, it's just a nice walk on some hills, all beautiful green, this grass, and going up another hill, I remember hearing a sound. And I turned my head, and way, 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 way in the distance. And yet it was like probably miles down, but everything's so clear I could see it. I saw this enormous city, enormous. I've never seen anything like it, and it was pure white, and it had some I guess touches of shining silver like I've never seen before. It was enormous, it had to be thousands of feet high. I mean, it was enormous. It was way, way in the distance. And I hear this song, "You are my shepherd and my king, Lord, master, everything. We are the sheep of your pasture, where in safety we adore you. Jesus, we offer song and praise. Teach our hearts to love your ways. Oh, lead us in our prayer. Oh, lead us everywhere." And it was in rounds. Just rounds, and thousands of voices, just thousands of beautiful sound of just heavenly choir, thousands, and it was in rounds. They kept that one phrase, that long phrase that I just sang. And I'm not much of a singer, but I love music. It just over and over, and then I was watching, I was watching the sound, as it were, because it was coming up and out of spires that were projecting the sound, maybe, I don't know, out of this huge city. And I saw the song coming right for me in the distance. It was, if you can imagine, I was taught by nuns, growing up, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9, ninth grade Jesuits, and the nuns for the 4th grade to the 8th grade. They took me out of public school after the 3rd grade. The nuns would teach us little kids, music. And I didn't know this, and they'd have this device, and they put 5 pieces of chalk in this device and scrape it across the blackboard, and make 5 lines, and then put the G clef, and then they put they're teaching us music. Well, I saw that kind of a design coming at me like this. Just it was alive, and it was floating toward me, and it finally got to me, and the sound was getting a bit louder and louder and crystal clear, and then the like a tape. Like a drawn out tape with all the music score and all that stuff, just went. He got to me on the green hill, and it just whoop, went right inside me, you know. And then all of a sudden, I remember waking up, as it were. But in the last moment, I was aware that I was. Is that heaven? I was in heaven. And I woke up and I'm singing the song, singing it over and over. And I'm in a church in New Jersey, and I happened to made good friends. The first friend I made happened to be the song minister in a small group, maybe 90 people, and so I called him on the phone and met him later in the day, and I kept singing the song over and over, you know, and went over to Joel's house, and he got a piano in the house. I'd never been in his house, and it was a row house in Trenton, New Jersey. And he says, well, sing it. And so he's making notations on a sheet of score blank. And he said, well, say it again, and he's making some more. And then sing it again. And so after 15 minutes of that, he goes, hey, he said, we have our first hymn. I said, well, what's the difference between a song and a hymn? And he explained the difference between a song and a hymn. And, he's a music guy. Now, he worked in an oil company, but, his real talents, to me, were he knew music, and he could sing it and lead people in worship, and just one of those happy guys, Music is a happy thing. Even it can bring sadness, but, And so, and we're going to put it into, it was going to be one of the 12 songs on this little album that the church was going to create, produce, and that all fell through. But he got this song copyrighted. I saw the sheets. I had them in, Words of Music by David H. Young, and go figure it. So I'll get. It's got copyrighted a couple of times. They got phone call over some years saying, hey, I'm this and I'm that, and we do this, and could we sing your song? Is that okay with you? I said, yeah, sure, go ahead. So it's like, I just wanted to share that God gives each of us something that just enlivens us. I mean, our walk with Him is very personal. He knows us. He's inside of us. Christ in me, the hope of glory. I'm dead. He's alive. My breath, He's given me a new breath. Read Romans 8, right? I mean, I died. And the breath I have now is the breath of God through Christ that lives in me. It's not intellectual. It's real. So I just wanted to share that. And you can pass it on if you want. And sing the song if it was enough for you to, because that's the song. It's meant to be sung in rounds. Forever. Okay, let you go. Bye-bye.